Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Digital Forensic webinar of Indian Cybersecurity Solutions. My name is Patrick, and I'm the Digital Marketing Executive of the organization. Today, we have Mr. Piyush Kundu, who is the head of the Digital Forensic and Cybersecurity, as well as CHV11 head department of the organization. He has an experience with working with the CBI as well as the Ministry of Home Affairs for the past 1.5 years, as well as he has been working in the SSKM hospital for uh, forensic reporting as well. Mr. Piyush, I would like you to take over the stage. Mr. Piyush, are you there?
Yes, Patrick.
Please take over the stage, and you
Yes.
can introduce yourself also as well to the audience.
Okay. Thank you, Patrick. So, hi, I'm Piyush, the head of Digital Forensic Analysis in Indian Cybersecurity Solutions. So, I have worked with Delhi CBI, CFSLs, with Ministry of Home Affairs for the digital forensic, and I've worked with Calcutta CFSL CBI in forensic field. And right now, I'm work with Indian Cybersecurity Solutions with Indian Cybersecurity Solutions. Now, today's boot camp or today's webinar is about the digital forensic and evidence collections. Now, electronic evidence collections. Now, uh, I will start with a great quote of a great person, uh, of a scientist and a father of forensic, known as Edmund Locard. Now, he gives the principle uh, about forensic field on a forensic field. Now, when a person comes into contact with an object or another person, a cross transfer of physical evidences can occur. This great quote given by Edmund Locard, which is also known as principle of exchange. Now, I come to the introduction part. Now, digital forensic is an introduction to computer forensic and investigation. So, I will give you an overview of forensic science in general way. So it will introduce you to the world of digital forensic, and that is applying forensic science to the digital artifacts that we create every day throughout our interactions with computers, mobile phones, unseen objects around us. That is known as the Internet of Things or the IoT. Now, what is forensic science? Now, the word forensic comes from the Latin word named forensis, meaning of or before the forum. The history of the term originates in the Roman times when a criminal charge meant presenting the case before a group of public individuals in the forum. Both the person accused of the crime and the accuser would give speeches based on their side of the story. The case would be decided in favor of the individuals with the best arguments and delivery. This origin is the source of two modern usage of the word forensic as a form of legal evidence and as a category of public presentation. Then, in simple manner, if we define the term forensic in a single sentence, so it will be the forensic science is an applications of any science related or used in the court of law. Now, digital forensic is a part of a forensic science. Now, we basically concentrate here on the digital forensic part. Now, what is digital forensic? So, digital forensic is a branch of forensic science that focused on the recovery and investigations of material found in digital device related to cybercrime. The term digital forensic was first used as a synonym for the computer forensic, since it then expanded to the cover of forensic investigations of any devices that can store digital data. Now, the first computer crime was reported in 1978. It was early 21st century that national policies in digital forensic got emerged. Now, the digital forensic is a process of identifying, preserving, analyzing, and documenting the digital evidences. Now, this is done in order to present evidences in the court of law when required. Now, steps of digital forensic. In order to digital evidences, Now, the steps of the digital forensic. In order to in order for the digital forensic is to be accepted in the court of law, it must be handled in very specific way so that there is an opportunity of cyber criminals to tamper with the evidences. Now, the first thing in the steps of digital forensic is the identification part. Now, the first, find the evidences where it is restored or stored. Now, the preservation, next, isolate, secure, and preserve the data. This includes preventing people from possibly the tampering with the evidences. Now, third is analysis. There is next the reconstruction, fragments of data, and draw the conclusions based on evidences found. Now, the fourth part is the documentation. Create a record of all the data to recreate the crime scene. The last part is the presentation part, which is lastly summarize and draw a conclusions in digital forensic. Now, who is digital forensic investigator? Now, a digital forensic investigator is a people who has a desire to follow the evidences and crime and solve the crime virtually. Now, imagine a security breach happened at a company resulting in the stolen of data. In this situation, the computer forensic analyst would come and determine how the attackers gained access to the network, where they damaged the network, and what did they do on the network, whether they took informations or planned a malware on it. Under those circumstances, a digital forensic investigator's role is to recover the data like photos, emails, documents from the computer hard drives and other storage devices such as zip or the flash drives with deleted, damaged, or otherwise manipulated. Now, how is digital forensic used in an investigation? Now, digital forensic is the information about a person on the system, such as web pages they are visited, when they are active, and what devices they are using. Now, by following the digital footprints, the investigators will excavate the digital data critical to the solving the cases or the crime cases. And the forensic investigator, the cyber forensic investigators are experts in investigating the encrypted data using various types of softwares, tools. There are many upcoming techniques that investigators depends on the type of cyber crime they are dealing with. Now, the cyber investigator task is to include the recovering the deleted data, tracking passwords, and finding the source of data breach. Once the collected the evidences is then stored and translated to make it presentable before the court of law or police to the further examinations. Now, the phase of digital forensic. Now, the phase one is the first response. The action performed right after the occurrence of a security incident is known as the first response. It is highly dependable on the nature of incident. And the phase two is search and seizure. Under this phases, the professional search for the devices involved in the carrying out the crime. These devices then carefully seize to extract the exact information out of them. Collect the evidences is the third phase. After the search seizure phases, professionals use the and acquired devices to collect the data. They will define the forensic method for the evidence collect handling. Phases 4, secure the evidences. The forensic staff should have access to a safe environment where they can secure the evidences and they determine if the collected data is accurate, authentic, and accessible. Another phase 5, the data acquisition. The data acquisition is a process of retrieving electronically stored information, that is a ESI, from the suspect digital assets. It is held to gain insight into the incident with an improper process and alter the data, thus sacrificing the integrating of the evidence. And the phase 6 is the data analysis. Under data analysis, the accountable staff scan the acquired data to identify the eventual information that can present it to the court. And this phase is about the examination, identifying, separating, converting, and modeling of data to transform it into the useful informations. Now, the phase 7 is evidence assessment. The process of evidence assessment relates the evidential data to the security incident. There should be through assessment based on the scope of the case. Now, the phase 8 is a documentation and reporting. Now, this is a post-investigation phase that covers reporting and documentation of all the findings. Also, the report should have adequate accepted evidences in accordance to the court of law. Now, the phase 9 is a testifying as a expert witness. The forensic investigator should approach the expert witness to affirm the accuracy of the evidences. An expert witness is a professional who investigates the crime to retrieve evidences. Now, what is cybercrime? Now, cybercrime is defined as any illegal act involving a computer, its systems, or its application. Now, cybercrime must be intentional. It is not an accidental. Now, cybercrime divides into three T factor. Number one, T is a tool of crime. Second is a target of crime, and third, the tangential of the crime. Now, the examples of cybercrimes, the few example includes theft of intellectual property, damage of company services networks, financial frauds, hackers system penetration, denial of service attack, planning of virus and worms. Now, the mode of attack. Now, cybercrimes fall into the two categories depending on the way take places, falling in the two different attacks. There is the insider attack and the external attack. Now, the source of digital evidences. Now, devices are digital and video camera, and types of potential evidences we found, that is pictures, videos, files stored locally on the media cards, cell phones, text messages, call logs, application use, social media accounts, everything from all categories. On the computer, laptop, everything from all categories, social media accounts, internet search history, documents, email, which is non-web based, mobile device, everything from all categories, application use, social media accounts, game consoles, pictures, videos, and documents, file storage, hard drive, thumb drive, and optical media, everything from all categories, Internet of Things, interactive guides, variables, locations, apps used. Law enforcement agencies also generate the digital evidences. Now, the evidence is automated license plate, that is called readers or LPR, license plate images, that is pictures of car, geolocations, and metadata. In car, the body worn cameras, videos, unarmed uh, aerial system, that is drones. We record the videos in interview room recording system, that is video audio recordings, closed circuit televisions or CCTVs, that is videos, and teasers, that is called data files. Now, the how digital evidences of the electronically evidences were collected. Now, on the scene, or on the crime scene, as anyone who has dropped a cell phone in a lake or had their computer damaged in a move or thunderstorm knows, digitally stored information is very sensitive and easily lost. Now, there are general best practices to properly seize devices and computer. Once the scenes has been secured and legally authorized to seize the evidences has been confirmed, the devices can be collected. Any passwords, codes, or pins should be gathered from the individual involved. If possible, the associated chargers, cables, peripherals, and manuals should be collected. Thumb drives, cell phones, hard drives are like they examine using the different tools and technique, and this is also often done in a specialized laboratory. Now, the first respondent needs a special take the special guide with the digital devices. In addition to the normal evidences, collections and procedure to prevent the exposures to the things like extreme temperature, static electricity, and the moisture. Now, the seizing of the mobile devices. The devices should be turned off immediately and the battery has been removed, if possible. The turning of the phones preserve the cell tower geolocation, informations of call logs, and prevent the phone from being used. Now, which could be changed the data on the phone. In addition, if the devices remains on, remote destruction command should be used without the investigation's knowledge. Some phones have an automatic timer to turn on the phones for updates, which could compromise the data. So, battery removal is optimal. If the devices cannot be turned off, then it must be isolated from the cell towers by placing it in a Faraday bag or other blocking or the other blocking materials. Set to the airplane mode or the Wi-Fi, water for Bluetooth or other communication systems must be disabled. Now, digital devices should be placed in the anti-static packaging such as paper bags or envelopes and cardboard boxes. Now, the plastic should be avoided. It can convey the static electricity or allowed build-up of condensations or the humidity. Now, in emergency or the life-threatening situations, informations from the phones can be removed and saved at the scene, but great care must be taken in the documentation of the actions and preservation of data. Now, when sending the digital evidences to the laboratory, the investigators must indicate the type of information being sought out, for the instance, phone numbers and call histories, such as cell phones, emails, documents, messages from a computer or images or on a tablet. Now, seizing the standalone computers and equipments. Now, to prevent the alteration of digital evidences during collection, the first respondent should first documentation any activity on the computer, components, or the devices of taking photographs and recording any informations on the screen. Respondent must move a mouse without pressing the buttons on the moving the wheel to determine if something is on the screen. If the computer is on, calling on the computer forensic expert is highly recommended as the connection to the criminal activity may be lost, maybe lost, and which is the highly mouse without the forensic information lost and turning off the computer. If the computer is on, but is a running but it's a running destructive software formatting and deleting of the species, running the destructive software formatting, deleting, and reviewing the wiping information. Power to the computer should be disconnected immediately to preserve whatever is left on the machine. Office environments provided a challenging collection situation due to the network potential loss of the evidences, liabilities to the agencies outside to the criminal investigation. For the instance, if the server is turned off during the seizure and that is providing a service to the outside customers, the loss of services to the customers may be very damaging. In addition, the office equipments that could contain the evidences such as the copiers, scanners, security cameras, facsimile machines or fax machines or pagers, caller IDs units should be collected. And the computers that are off may be collected into the evidences as per the usual agencies and digital evidences procedure. Now, the procedure of digital was to ensure that digital forensic and evidences remain unchanged or handling of the digital evidences. Now, the evidence handling has a four primary areas in any incident response activity. These areas are as follows. Number one, the collection which has to be do with the searching of for the evidences, recognitions, and the collections of evidences and documenting the item of evidence is always ensured. The collections includes all of the available data and resources such as the whole disk drive, not just the used portion. Always document the place, time, circumstances of such data item collected for the evidences. And the second is the hardware evidences examination, which has to do with the origins, significance, visibility of the evidences often can reveal the hidden or obscure informations, documentation about the evidences, dimensions, size, style, uh, manufacturers of hard drives, other devices, or network items with all the important evidences items. Now, software and network evidence analysis. Now, which is where the logs record software incident is actually examined for the incident, providing the significance criteria for the inclusions and providing the value of evidences. Always conduct the software and network analysis interpretations separate from the hardware evidences examinations. And the fourth part is the evidence reporting. It must be written documentation with the process and procedures outlined and explained in detail in the report, pertaining from the facts and the data recovered from the primary keys in the reports. Understand the documents and reports will always be reviewed, critiqued, and must be even cross-examined. Now, move on to the mobile evidences. Now, next is the mobile evidences. Now, the text message, whether it is a regular text or iMessages, photos or chats sent to the social media apps, text messages can convey conversations or plans to the criminal activity. Now, the phone records, many cases hinge on who a suspect and may call the received a call from a during a suspect time frame. In the browsers of the search history, just like the forensic investigators search the browser history on a laptop or a desktop, they can use the great accurate pictures of your activities based on the search you conduct on the mobile devices. And the GPS location, Today's cell phones are equipped with the modern GPS tools, and investigators can always track your location using the tools and show where your phone was in the relations to nearby the cell phone towers. Now, application data. Now, some suspect criminals are using the applications like Snapchat to do the things, Snapchats and do the things, and like receive the child pornography because the data from the Snapchat disappears being sent. It is harder throughout that it is not impossible for law enforcement to track down. Other apps may also contain the data that can be used in the criminal investigation. Now Wi-Fi or Bluetooth being the because of the making connections of either of these can help the pinpoint of a location at the particular time. It can also be damaging the evidences against you in the criminal matter. And the multimedia, one of the reasons we love the today's smartphone is because of the photo, videos, and audio capabilities presents. All of this can contain the evidences police may be looking for when investigating a cases. Now, device file, whether you have saved a document with a list of credit cards, numbers, and do not belong you to the you have received and saved. Say, pictures of the stolen property. These stored files can be considered digital evidences. Now, the deleted data, and that's right, the photos, voicemails, texts, even device files that suspect the attempt to deleted or cover up the criminal activities can still recovered by the forensic specialist. Now, the brief detail about that mobile forensic. The importance of the mobile forensic. Now, the term mobile forensic devices encompasses of a wide range array of the gadgets ranging from the mobile phones, smartphones, tablets, GPS units of to the wearables and PDAs. Now, what they can have in common is a fact, and they can contain a lots of users information. Mobile devices are the right in the middle of the three blooming technological trends: internet of things, or the IoT, cloud computing, and big data. The proliferations of the mobile technology is perhaps the main reason, so at least one of the main reason of these trends to occur in the first place. Nowadays, the mobile devices used as a passive is a possessive as it is helpful, especially on the context of digital forensic, because these are the small seeds machines, a mass of huge quantities of data on a daily basis, which can be extracted to the facilitate the investigations, being something like a digital extension of our yourself ourselves, and these machines allow digital forensic investigators and to the glean of the lot of information. Now, what are the steps of the digital forensic process? The first is the seizure. The digital forensic operates on a principle that the evidences should always be adequate, preserved, proceed, and admissible to the court of law. Now, some legal considerations go hand in hand with the configurations of the mobile devices. And these are two major risks concerning this present and the phases of the mobile forensic processes, like lock activations by user suspect invert third party, and the network cellular connections. And the network isolations is always advisable, and it could be achieved through either through the mobile airplane mode, disable the Wi-Fi and hotspots, cloning the devices and the SIM cards. Now, the airplane mode. Now, the mobile devices are often switched on, and since the purpose of their configurations that they preserve the evidences. Acha. The best way to transport them is to attempt or keep them turned on to avoid the shutdown, which would be the inevitably alter files. Now, the Faraday bag and the external power supply are common type of equipment for conducting the mobile forensic, while former as a container specifically a design of the isolate the mobile devices from the network communications, and at the same time the help in the devices for the laboratory later is the power source embedded inside the Faraday box before putting the power of the disconnected from the network, disable all the network connections, Wi-Fi, GPS hotspots, and activate the flight mode to protect the integrity of the evidences. Last but not the least, the investigator should aware of and beware of the mobile devices being connected to unknown incidental devices, as well as other booby trap sets such as the causing bodily harm to death or to anyone in the crime scene. Now, the second part is the acquisition part, or the identification of the extraction thing. The goal of these phrases is to retrieve the data from the mobile devices. Unlocked screen can be unlocked with the right PIN, password, pattern, or the biometric passcodes and protected fingerprints Also, similar lock measures may exist on app, images, SMS messengers. Encryptions, on the other hand, provided the security on a software or in a hardware level, and that may be often impossible to the circumvent. It is hard to be control the data on the mobile devices because the data is mobile as well as the once the communications of the files can send to the smartphones, the control is lost. Although there are different devices having the capabilities to store the consideration amount of data, and data in itself may be physically be in another location. To give an example, data synchronizations among devices applications can be take place directly and but also via the cloud services such as Apple's iCloud, Microsoft OneDrive are prevalent among the mobile devices users, which leave the open the possibility of the data acquisition from there. And for that, mm, the reason the investigator could be attentive for any inductions and the data may be transparent. The mobile device is a physical object because the occurrences may affect the collections and even the preservation process. Since data is constantly being synchronized, hardware and software may be able to bridge the data gap. For example, Uber, it is the most and important app and fully functional website. All the information that is accessed through the Uber app on a phone may be pulled off the Uber website instead of even the Uber software program installed on a computer. Now, regardless of this the type of this device, identifying the locations of the data can be further implemented due to the fragmentation of the operating system and item specification. The open source Android operating system alone comes in the several different versions, and even Apple iOS vary from the versions to the versions. Another challenge that the forensic expert needs to overcome is the abundant and even challenging the landscape of the mobile app. Create a full list of all instant apps. Some apps achieve the backup data after one identifies the data sources. Next step is to collect the information properly. That are certain and unique challenges concerning the gathering information in the context of mobile technology. Many mobile devices cannot be collected by creating a data. Instead, they are undergo the process called the acquisition of data. There are various protocols of collecting the data from the mobile devices as certain the design specifications may also allow one type of acquisition. The forensic examiner should come and the SIM card imaging and procedures that recreate the replica of the image. The SIM card contain as with other replicas, the original evidences will remain intact with the replica images is being used for the analysis. All the image files should be hashed and ensure data remain accurate and unchanged. Now the examinations of analysis. Now the first step of digital investigation involving in mobile devices, the forensic expert needs to be identified. That the first is mobile devices, example the GPS, smartphones, tablet, etc. Type of network, there is CDMA, GSM and TDMA, carrier service provider is a reverse lookup. The examiners may need to the numerous forensic tools and acquire the analysis of the data, deciding all the machines. Due to the sheer diversity of the mobile devices, there is a one such fit and solutions other regarding the mobile forensic tools. A constant of the other uses tool examination is the access data stealth kit, and in case of the some popular forensic software products and analytic the capabilities, the most appropriate tools is being chosen depending on the type of models and mobile devices. The timeline and the cross analysis available in the mobile forensic could tie each of the most frequent events from the forensic analysis point of view. All the information, evidences, and other finding extracted, analyzed, and documented throughout the investigations should be presented or to any other forensic examiners or a court in clear, concise, and complete manner. And the forensic computer forensic investigation process model. Now, the model representing the computer forensic investigation process, there is a flow diagram in the acquisition, identifications, evaluations, and admission as evidences. And the identification can be the physical context, media, logical context, or the legal context that is information. Now, the investigation process for digital forensic is followed in a flow diagram that is identification, collection, preservation, examination, analysis, and presentation. Now we move on to the tools that are used in the digital forensic analysis. The forensic investigators are always challenging, as you may gather all the information should could have the evidences, the mitigation plan. There are some of the computer forensic investigation tools you must need to know. Most of them are free, whether it is an internal human resources cases, the investigation into the unauthorized access to the server, or is just a plan to learn the new skills. These suits and utilize with the help the conduct the memory forensic analysis, hard drives, the forensic imaging exploration, the forensic imaging and mobile forensic as it provide the ability to bring back the depth of the information about the under the hood of the system. Now, the first tool is autopsy. Now, autopsy is a GUI-based open source digital forensic programs and analysis hard drives and smartphone efficiently. Autopsy is used by the thousands of users worldwide to investigate what actually happens in the computer. Second is the encrypted disk detector. Now, the encrypted disk detector can be helpful to check the encrypted disk physical drives. It supports the TrueCrypt, PGP, BitLocker, SafeBoot encrypted volumes, Wireshark. Wireshark is a network capture and analyze a tool to see what is happening in your network. Wireshark can be handy to investigate the network related incident. RAM capture. You can use the magnet RAM capture to capture the physical memory of the computer analysis artifacts in the memory. Network miner, an interest of network forensic analysis for the Windows, Linux, Mac OS, detect the OS host name session, open port through the packet sniffing, or by PCAP with the network miner provides the extracted artifacts in a intrusive user's interface. Now, the Nmap or the network mapper is one of the most important and popular network and security auditing tool. The Nmap is supposed to be one of the most operating system, including the Windows, Linux, Solaris, Mac OS, HP Arcs, etc. It is open source and so much is free in nature. The hash my files Now, hashmap files will help to calculate the MD5 or HS1 hashes. It works with the almost with the latest operating system OS. Then is the crowd response. Is it another tool? Response by the CrowdStrike is a Windows applications to gather the information with the incident response, security, and engagement. You can view the results in the XML, CSV, TSV, or HTML with the help of the CR convert. It runs with 32 and 64-bit of Windows XP and above. Toolslay has got more 10 useful tools for the investigations. Now, the file signature verifier, the file identifier, hash or validate, binary inspector, encode text, data URI generator, password generator, etc. And the stealth kit. The stealth kit is a collection of command line tool to investigate the analysis in the volume, the file system to find the evidences. Then the canine. The canine is a computer-aided investigate the environment, a Linux distro that offers the computer forensic platform, which has more than 80 tools for you to analyze, investigate, and create an actionable report. Now, the second is the volatility. The volatility is a memory forensic framework. It is used in incident response, malware analysis. With this tool, you can extract the informations from the running process, network socket, network connection, dealers, and recursive hives. It also has a support for extracting the information from the Windows crash dump files and the hibernation files. Third is a bulk extractor. Bulk extractor is an important digital forensic tool. It scans the digital images, files, directory of the files extracted with unusual informations. The Oxygen forensic suite is another file. Splico is another file. And last but not the least is FTK Imager. FTK Imager is a forensic toolkit accessed by the access data. It's used to get the evidence. It can create the copies of data without making the changes to the original evidences. Now, this tool allow you to specify the criteria, the file size, pixel size, and data type, reduce the amount of the irrelevant data. Now, the thing is that it is a provides a wizard-driven approach to the direct detect the cybercrime. And this program often also offers a better visualization of data using a chart. You can also recover the password more than 100 applications. It is advanced and automated data analysis faculty. Facility in the FTK Imager helps you to manage the reusable profiles for the different investigation requirements. It also supports the pre and the post process refinement, and the section 3 is how data is stored in a computer. Now, using the data, the computer, laptop, the tablets, the mobile phones, considering the storage and retrieving of the transferring of information in the efficient way, and then the data is reported on the modern storage and using the binary numerical system. Now, what is data recovery? Data recovery is a process of restoring the data that has been lost, accidentally deleted, corrupted, or been in the accessible way. In enterprise IT, data recovery typically refers to the restoration of data to a desktop, laptop, servers, or external storage system from a backup. Now, what is the cause of data loss? The most data loss by the human errors rather than the malicious attack. In fact, the human error can count at the two or thirds of the incident. The most common type of breach found in the common breach occurred when someone sent the data to the wrong person. Now, other common cause of the data loss is include the power outrage, neutral disasters, equipment failures, malfunctions, accidental deletions of data, unintentional formatting of the hard drive, damages the hard drive, the right heads, software crashes, logical errors, firmware corruptions, continued using the computer after signing of the failure, physical damage of the hard drive, laptop threats, the spilling of the coffee or the water on the computer. Now, how the recovery data works? How data recovery the works? Data recovery is a variation is varies depending on the circumstance data loss, and the data recovery software used to create the backup and backup the target media. For example, many desktop, laptop backups software platforms allow users to restore the file themselves by restoring and corrupted database from a tape from a tape backup. It is the most complicated process that requires IT inventions. Now, data recovery services can also be used to retrieve the files. It is not backup and accidentally deleted from the computer's file systems, but still remain on the hard drives in the fragment. And the data recovery is possible because the information about the files are stored in the different places. For example, Windows operating systems are used in a file allocations table to track different files on the hard drives and they are stored. The allocations tables is a book of table of contents, while the actual files on the hard drive, like the pages in the book. Now, data recovery techniques. The instant recovery techniques is eliminate the recovery without by Windows by redirecting user workloads, backup servers, snapshot is creating to the redirecting the snapshot using the off-work backup virtual machines and the recovery process being in the background. Users have no idea the recovery is taking places. Once the recovery is complete, the user's workload is redirected to the original VMs. Now, the two things of the data recovery is the standalone DLPs or the data loss prevention. And standalone DLPs products can reside the specialized appliances or be the software sold as software. Integrated DLPs product are used found in the perimeter security gateways and always detecting the sensitive data at rest or in motion. Now, the process of data recovery. Data recovery often incredible, stressful, and situations, no matter how it happens, and whether it we went a flash drive, the documents dropped an external drive containing the family photos, or the servers or business financial records when just corrupt. And the part I have already mentioned about the evaluations, the physical damage error during the reading, the physical damage, the two things of the evaluation, the physical damage and the logical damage. The physical damage and stress, mass, file damages, liquid damages. In such cases, the most of the common element of the disks that negates damage or the read and write heads, internal, external drives, electronics, motor bearing the pallets themselves. The recovery process is those under hold and take the specialized using the latest technology of the laboratory conditions and namely a clean room. The logical damage not from levels, it is because of the fault of integrity and the logical structure of data. It is not caused by the damages to the actual media. Sometimes in the cases the standard of software programs can be used. Often the problems is so complicated that the specialist help from a data recovery lab is required.
Hello, Mr. Piyush.
Yes, Patrick.
There is a query in the StreamYard. Someone is asking if there's a job opportunity after completing the course. You can have a watch of it also as well.
Yes, obviously there is a job opportunity available uh, after the courses of digital forensic. Now, digital forensic is you can work with different companies where digital forensics is done. different MNCs also where the digital forensics is done. Different organizations are present there where you can cooperate with them. You can collaborate with them. You can work with them. Okay, so after the finishing of the courses, you can go and join different sectors where you can share your knowledge with the companies. Thank you. Can I continue, Patrick? Hello, Patrick. Okay, so let's continue with the hashing. In the introduction to the hashing is designed to solve the problems of needing efficiency to find or store an items in the collection. For example, if you have a list of 10,000 words of English and you want to check if the given words in the list and would be efficient to successfully compare the word with all 10,000 items until you find a match, even if the list of words are lexicographically stored and like a dictionary, you will still need some time to find the word you can looking for. Hashing is a technique in which the efficiently narrowing down the searches of the outset. And what is hashing? Hashing means using of the functions algorithm map object data to some representative integer value. It is so called the hash code or simply the hash. You can use as a way to narrow down our searches by looking for the item in the map. Generally, these hash codes are used to generate an index at which the value is stored. Now, how the hash work? Now, in a hash table, you can get the data forms of keys and valuable pairs, and which is used to identify the data, and is also an input of hashing functions. And the hash code, which is an integer, it is mapped with the fixed size. The hash tablets have three functions: insert, get, and delete. Okay. Now, purely as an example of the help of graphs of concept, it is suppose that we want a map of a list of strings, and the strings, for an example, map of countries on the capital cities. So let just we store the data temple of in the map, and let us suppose our hash function is simply take the length of the string. For simplicity, we will have two arrays. That is a one of the one key and another is one value. Now, so to put an item in the table in the hash table, the compute in the hash code. It is simply count the number of characters and put the keys values in the arrays of the corresponding index. Now, the very important thing in the digital forensic is the chain of custody part. Now, the chain of custody refers to the logical sequences and records the sequence of custody, control, transfer, and analysis and depositions of the physical electronic evidences in the legal cases. Such steps in the chain is essential as if broken, the evidences may be rendered inadmissible. Thus, we can say that preserving the chain of custody is about the following of correct and consistent procedure and hence ensuring the quality of evidences. Now, what the chain of custody entails in the digital forensic, digital cyber forensic. Now, the chain of custody of digital cyber forensic is also known as the paper trail or the forensic link or the chronological documentation of the evidences. Now, chain of custody initiate the collection, sequence of control, transfer analysis. It is also documented details of each person who handled the evidences, data and time it is collected and transferred. The purpose of the transfer is demonstrate trust of the court, the client, and the evidences has to be tampered. The digital evidences recovered from the martyred of the devices is vast number of IoT devices, audio, visual, audio evidences, video recordings, images, and others data stored on the hard drive, flash drives, and other physical media. The importance of the maintaining of chain of custody, the importance to the examiner to preserve the integrity of the evidences, to preserve the evidences from the contaminations which can alter the state of the evidences. In case you obligate the metadata for a piece of evidences but unable to extract on the meaningful information from the metadata, in such a cases the chain of custody helps to show where the possible with the possible evidences might lie, where it comes and who is have been created and types of equipments used. It will help to generate that exemplar, compare with the evidences to confirm the evidences with the properties. Now, importance of the court, it is preserve the evidences submitted to the court and might be challenged with the rule admissible. Now, the chain of custody process, in order to preserve the digital evidences, the chain of custody should span from the first of digital collections, examinations, reporting, and time of presentation of the court. There's a diagram of the chain of custody, how the chain of custody works. Now, I come to the last part, that is cybercrime in India. Now, it is simply that say the cybercrimes in the computer is either the tool, the target, or the both. Cybercrimes involve the criminal activities, traditional nature, and the find of theft, fraud, forgery, defamations, mischief, or other Indian penal code. And abuse of the computers can be give birth to the gamut of the new cybercrimes. Now, cybercrimes are the different cyber laws, that is Section 65 in the Indian evidence in the Indian IPC's Indian Penal Code, tampering with the computer source and documents. Now, Section 66, the using of passwords of the another person. Section 66D, the cheating of using the computer resources. Section 66E, the publishing and private images of the others. Section 66F, the acts of cyber terrorism. Section 67, the publishing of child pornography, predicting of the children online. Section 69, that the government's power to block the website. Section 43A, the data protection of the corporate label. Okay, now there are different types of cybercrime under the IPC and IT Act. There is hacking and data theft. A few more. There are also the few more IT acts, and there are a few more sections in the IT acts and Indian Penal Code. The theft and cheating of personal is Section 66C, Section 66D, Section 419 of IPC. All these are mentioned in the cybercrime. The obscenity is Section 67, 67A, 67B of the IT Act prescribe the punishment for the publishing and transmitting the electronic form. Now, we move on to the conclusions right now of the digital forensic. Now, in this digital forensic, we introduction to the computer forensic and investigations. Now, we have give you the taster of the not the full course. It is a half in nature. There's lots more in the digital forensic area. It has given a broad view of the scope of digital forensic, including the topics which are covered in the greater depth. So, we have seen that both the forensic in general and digital forensic in particular encompasses a wide range of distinct disciplines. Now you have learned how the principles laid down the early investigations can be applied, and with the modern technologies, now you have been introduced to some of the guidelines used by the digital forensic investigators. Clear distinctions between the scientific investigators for the research purposes and the forensic investigations using the scientific method has been made. It is vital for the remember the distinctions. Scientific research is always subject to the revisions, and whereas the forensic investigation should results in a clear-cut results, and any limitations of the results such as made are clear in the court. Now, the computer forensic investigations has a difficult, but with the right tool, you can successfully gather the evidences. Now, gathering evidences is a major aspect of in the cases, as you cannot prosecute without the substantial amount of it. But it is not the only thing to be considered. Each side of the cases can have a certified computer expert will give the expert witness testimonies on the evidences, and that was collected and being presented, and they should be able to explain how evidences was obtained and how it is relevant to the cases. Now, there's a few books which are available for the digital forensic. So you can see my screen that there's a few books. You can buy it or you can download it in a software way. Now, and this is a one tool called named Autopsy, which is a very important tool in digital forensic platforms. We use it for recovering of data or retrieve the data from the corrupted files and different hard drives, etc. Now, after you open the autopsy, there is a new case. You have to find the new case. We have to create a new case. Now, after the new case, is you have to give the case number. What on what cases you are giving? There is case number. Is a base directory where which you can save the retrievation file. Now, if you give that, and I have given randomly, there's 108. Next it, and what is the case number? It's name by Piyush Kundu, phone number, email ID. You have to give and specify it, then finish it up, and it will always see in the it's creating the cases in databases, and it's creating a folder in the desktop where we can retrieve the data from the any corrupted files or any corrupted hash drives or pin drives, etc. After that, the data will be retrieved. The data maybe can be retrieved for the 2 days, 3 days. It depends upon the how data, what much of data is available on that hard drive, SSDs, or flash drive, etc. This is all about the digital forensic. It is an overview idea of a digital forensic. Thank you, everyone, for joining me in the digital forensic field. Thank you.
Well, Mr. Piyush, I thank you for joining the session. If you have any practical session that you would like to show to the audience.
No, I have already shown Patrick uh, that how to use autopsy in digital forensic field. What are the uses
Very
of autopsy?
Very good, sir. Sir, it was wonderful having you in the webinar. Viewers, please share us your comments. Please share us your views on commenting on our video, or share it to among your friends as well. If you have loved the video, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Facebook at IndianCybersecuritySolutions.com. One more thing, with this, we have a computer forensic course available and ready for you. We have already made the page, and you can visit our site at IndianCybersecuritySolutions.com, where we have a computer forensics page written on it. I've also given the URL of the link. I've also given the link of the page. I'm very sorry. I'm also giving the link of the page in the chat section of YouTube. You can join over there as well. For Facebook users, I will also send it to you in the chat section right now for you, so that you can have a check of a CHFI. We have two computer forensic pages available. One is for Indian certification and one is the global certification. We provide both. And for more details, you can reach us at 1-800-123-5014, 500-014, that is, or you can send us an email at info@indiancybersecurity.solutions.com. Till then, do you have any questions, viewers? Okay, I think we can conclude the webinar over here. Thank you, Mr. Piyush. Thank you, everyone. We are signing off right now.